All right, welcome into another edition of the Ryan Ripken Show. I don't even know what to consider this all episodes wise, but here we are. It is Thursday afternoon, and we have a big day planned in general. For those that don't know, we are doing actually a NFL Draft live special this evening, starting at 7:30, and which we have a ton of guests lined up. We'll just tease that a little bit later. But we wanted to make sure, because we have a lot of people obviously that are Orioles fans, right? And every Thursday, it's one of our shows where we always are going to talk baseball. And in this case, the Orioles are coming back from the West Coast. They flew back. Now they're getting ready for the series against the Oakland A's. We will preview that. And also, you guys asked, and will receive a Albert Suarez breakdown will be for today. It's not going to be one of our longest streams, but we will get enough information. And yes, Gunnar Henderson is pretty damn good at the game of baseball. But hey, let me at least introduce you with who's in studio today or who's on this stream with us. And let me know also where you guys are tuning in from in the comments. We appreciate you guys as always. So hey, always to my right, Zach Bollinger is in the building.
Boom, boom, baby.
And the camera's fixed.
Yeah, no, I was struggling with it while we were during the countdown. But we got it going. We got going, so no fear, anyone.
Yeah, no fear. And I'm glad your hair looks great too.
Thank you. I tried.
Yep.
I just have to look good for Kevin.
That's it. Speaking of Kevin, let's bring on Mr. Kevin Oyster Striker. Kevin.
Thank you for looking good for me, Zach. I appreciate it. Like my hair's it's flowing, right? It's flowing this way. It's flowing a little bit.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna be down in the studio in a couple hours. I'm so swamped with draft stuff right now. Excited for the draft stream, but of course we have some Orioles to talk about, and luckily I'll be able to actually sound good today because I realized last stream I was on the wrong mic. So now I'm on the right mic, and I'll sound better this time. So that's on me, but I'll sound better.
I mean, it's not on us. We'll be honest. Not on Zach.
That is very true. That is very true. Was not on me.
Now
Kevin
you can hear
did
my beautiful
text.
singing voice during Kevin Oki if we do it before the stream is over.
Kevin did text me afterwards and was like, "Go," because he was editing it. And he was like, "Dude, I must have been on the wrong mic." He was so stressed about it. He's like, "I sound so bad."
Yeah, it was not great.
Well, we're glad you're a good kid, and you'll be in studio here later on, so everything's going to sound nice and I guess hopefully it's going to sound vibrant and easy for everyone to understand and hear. And Kevin, just at least because you put this all together before we get into all the Orioles talk, for those that are interested later, 7:30, Kevin, you set up, I think, 10 guests for us tonight or something like that for the NFL draft stream.
Yeah, we got a lot of people coming. We're going to have a couple people coming down to the studio throughout the night as well. So that's going to be exciting. So I know, again, we're talking Orioles right now, but if you're an NFL fan, you don't even have to be a Ravens fan. If you're an NFL fan, you can be here with us. We'll be going over every single pick, obviously keeping it Ravens-centric, but talking about each pick as it unfolds. We have a bunch of guests lined up, so it'll be really exciting. Obviously, we try to get the Orioles and the Ravens football, baseball, basketball, everything, and we've been full steam ahead with the baseball content right now, but this is one of the biggest weekends of the year and one of the biggest nights of the year. So really wanted to put something together for it. And I'm excited. It should be a really fun time.
It'll be fun. It will be entertaining, to say the least. And you know what? One of those guys, Nick Moore, it's been a while since we've had Nick, Ravens long snapper. And also, for those that didn't know, Nick was a professional baseball player, played with the Red Sox organization, was teammates with Cedric Mullins in high school. We had an interview with Cedric about a couple months ago before spring training began.
It was like a week before spring training because me and Ced talked about if he had packed yet, and he hadn't.
Yep. No, he did not. But you know what? His bags are packed, and Ced's off to a great start here with Baltimore. So the draft coverage will be later tonight around 7:30 is where we get going. But let's get into some baseball talk. And actually on the short notice, because of Orioles fans and because this is something I threw out there because we're trying to give back more with the community and give people a chance that are in the Maryland area. So let me share my screen for a second. If you guys saw, I put out this tweet not that long ago. It's up on the screen there. There it is. Whammy. So Rick Dempsey and I are doing an event on Sunday, April 28th at the Iron Rooster. Yes, the Orioles have a day game, but from 5:30 to 7:30, we said, screw it. We want to give 10 tickets out as a giveaway to the Iron Rooster up in Hunt Valley. Come hang out. And if you think Rip After Dark can get a little bit crazy, imagine what Rick After Dark could be with me as we talk baseball. But all you have to do in order to join in on this event, actually, and and I'll even put it back up here. So 5:30 to 7:30 at the Iron Rooster in Hunt Valley. Dinner will be a part of the whole program. The only thing you have to do to enter this is like the message, like this post that I have there, and follow Rick Dempsey, the Baseball Warehouse, the Iron Rooster, and myself. And we will pick our winners tomorrow, and we will look forward to having you guys there because, look, it's a fun time to be an Orioles fan, and Rick Dempsey was a part of the last Orioles team that won the World Series back in '83, and Rick is filled with so many stories, some that we can't always share on the airwaves. All right, so let's get into this now. Orioles flying back from LA, and guess what, guys? They won another series.
It's what they do.
Everything's okay.
It's what they keep doing. I mean, and it wasn't great. I'm not going to say it was, fantastic series by every game. Obviously, you would like to sweep if you're saying it was a perfect series, but it just felt like so many different stars. Dean Kramer, friend of the program, 10 Ks yesterday, 10 punchies. Ooh. That was nasty. I'll tell you that. I was happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, Dino, again, when it feels like when you need a big game from your starter, Dean delivers. And I thought Dean's been great this year, guys. I really have. And I know, again, don't look at the ERA because that one game against Milwaukee, that weird game where defense wasn't great.
Well, that was also the wind game.
Yes.
Like, that's what I think people forget about that was when it was like 40 mile an hour winds. And you talk about so many balls leaving the ballpark for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
That was one where the Orioles put up, I think we were up 5-4 at one point. And it was like 3-4 home runs in that game where you skied it in the air and the wind took it out of there.
Oh, exactly. And here's the thing, by the way, and this is what I love about with Dean Kramer, 10 Ks, 1 walk. 1 free pass, and that gives you a chance to win the game, obviously. Now, the replay officials might have not gotten that call right. In our mind, they got it right.
Oh, all right.
The play at second base, what you got for me?
Fun story. Obviously, last night I commentated at the Ironbirds game, so I'm following on my phone what's going on. And obviously, I had the play the damn song tweet ready and out, just expecting. I was like, once we get the final out, I'll put that out before we go on air. So I see runner is out at second, end of 9th inning. So I put the tweet out, and it's like 2 minutes in, and I'm like, why is no one else acknowledging this win? And I was so confused. I had no clue there was a review, any of this. And then finally it says final score, and I go on Twitter. I'm like, okay, finally. I was like, I don't know what happened. And I just see all these people upset, and they're like, he's going to be called safe. I was like, what was going on? So I almost had a very bad, if he would have been called safe and then scores to tie the game, I would have had the full play the damn song up for probably the whole night. Even if we lost, it would have just been up there.
Could you imagine?
That would have been so bad.
Could you have imagined, Kevin? But the Orioles got the win, and they found another way. And Craig Kimbrell on the backside again, save number 7. The Orioles will leave in LA. Yes, it goes a little bit closer for comfort, but at the end of the day, Kev, you win the games, you win the series, you move on.
Yeah, Kimbrell's been lights out practically the entire season. I know, Ryan, you like to kind of take your victory lap with the Kimbrell signing after all the hate it got, and he's been amazing for him. But what about this Gunnar Henderson guy that we have here? He put together, and he launched that thing yesterday. It was gone right off the bat, a 3-for-3 day for him. I mean, we're talking early MVP. The odds are shifting. To me, though, this was, again, wasn't necessarily the prettiest series I've ever seen, but you know what? They got the job done. They won another one. And guys just getting timely hits, timely outs, that's what it takes sometimes, where you don't have to be perfect. Not everybody has to go 3-for-3 like Gunnar did, but it was a group effort. And I think overall you can call a 4-2 road trip. That's pretty successful.
Yeah, I mean, for Gunnar, too, by the way. Well, here you go, Zach. You just put up the tweet, and I'll read it out for people, and we can talk about it. Gunnar Henderson's last 10 games, hitting .450 with 5 jacks, 11 ribbies, 18 hits, and an OPS north of 1,000, well north at 1.436. This is Gunnar Henderson. Zach, I mean, the stats, you can say there's certain things where a box score doesn't tell the full story, but right there, it actually is telling the full story with Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah, I mean, just talk about a player absolutely on fire right now. It seems like he's seeing a beach ball each and every time he goes up to the plate, and it's finding different ways every single time. It's not like some of these players where, he's getting singles, he's getting doubles, and it's just like very casual. He's stretching things out. He wants to go get third. He got a triple the other night, and actually last night, big round of second on his double. Thought he honestly was going to go for 3, but he is just at all times looking to make as big of an impact as he can. And something you can't even see in these stats right now, we're talking about stats, not telling the whole story. Gunnar Henderson's defense. No. My gosh.
Yeah.
He's making web gem after web gem after web gem the past few games. It just feels like every time you look up or you hear a crowd pop, something, the announcer's going, oh my God, it's Gunnar Henderson making a play. And it's just like clockwork right now.
Well, and the other part here, so we'll get back into his hitting again, but you're right. And I've talked about this with multiple people, and I remember, it was funny. This is way back. Freddie Gonzalez, the bench coach in it's back in 2022. We were actually all in the same place in the same apartment complex because just staying for the season just happened to be that way. But we're out walking our dogs late at night, and we were talking about it, being like, hey, where do you think Gunner's natural position is? And I'm like, that's shortstop. I think it should be shortstop. And people were trying to figure it out. And last year, Gunner was trying to figure out, how to be a big leaguer first. So the pressure wasn't on him to play a lot of shortstop. You had Jorge Mateo. But I'll tell you what, guys, didn't it feel like when Gunner took over to be shortstop? And yes, sometimes with throws needs to be a little bit more consistent on some of the more quote unquote routine plays. But Gunner plays with a freedom and a versatility at shortstop that to me is unmatched on the team. You saw that play yesterday. The ball in the hole gets by Jordan Westberg. Gunner gets to it. And there's only, I don't know, I'm trying to think of other players in Major League Baseball that have the arm strength and the ability to make that
maybe
play.
1, 2.
Yeah.
Like if that, like you said, if that, I'm thinking maybe a Bobby Witt Jr. could make a play like that. But after that, I'm not sure what other shortstop's making that play.
Well, and again, it's the for your shortstop, your goal is, or what you hope is, can they be consistent in the field and make the plays they have to make? Yes. But do they have a range to be able to make the plays that you might not be able to think that they're going to make, but they have the opportunity to, that can be game-changing type of plays? That's a game-changing type of play, keeps a runner off the base. It's great. And you know what? I'm glad we have a little bit Alex Baltimore here, by the way. Mountcastle on first helps make Gunner a bit better. You're damn right I give first baseman's love. Yeah, because you know why? I was a former first baseman, and I'll tell you what, first basemen deserve a lot of credit just from the sense, if you have a really good first baseman over there, one, it makes you overall your defense better, because if it's a ball in the dirt, range to be able to stretch to get a ball matters, but also for the player going to make the play like Gunner did. Gunner feels he can go out there and not have to feel like he has to be perfect getting the ball over there, and letting him just have his athletic ability take over and know that you have a guy over there that's going to pick you up when things aren't a little bit off-centered. That's the example right there. And it all comes together. And if you want to see a great infielder, especially shortstop or third baseman, show me their first baseman, and I'm sure it's going to align with how their defensive play is going. So with Gunner, though, back to the bat real quickly. Yeah, you mentioned in the last 10 games. Well, how about this in LA? He went 6 for 11 with 2 bombs, a triple, a double. So 4 of those 6 hits or for extra base hits, drives in 5 runs, makes the incredible plays. And guys, I was telling people this before, actually before Gunner got called up. Zach, actually, I think we just talked about this before we went on air.
Yeah.
I said within the first 5 years, I thought Gunnar Henderson was going to be an MVP. And then during his rookie year last year, and this was back in June when he just started to come out of the funk, I was like, I'm changing my opinion or stance. In the next 2 seasons, Gunnar Henderson's going to win an MVP. And right now, the odds are still pretty high, but he's starting to look like he's one of the favorites. And I don't know if Kevin or Zach, you guys have the odds on that right now for Gunnar Henderson?
Yeah, let me pull it up right now to get the official, but so pretty much before the season started, you could get Gunnar at plus 2,000 odds to win the AL MVP. And I believe at this moment, he is at around 700 to the 750, 800, depending on the sports book you're at. But just absolutely unreal. He's got the 3rd best odds to win it right now.
And It is. And then the other one, so Juan Soto, Bobby Witt Jr. And Bobby Witt Jr. is a great player, by the way. Everyone already knows about Juan Soto, but I think Oriole fans, you got to see the Royals a couple times. Bobby Witt Jr. is the truth. He is a sensational player, but so is Gunnar Henderson. And and actually, people can make the argument Mike Trout looked good this weekend too, or this weekend during this week, but it still baffles me that Trout has 10 jacks and 13 RBIs. That means he's in a lot of solo home runs, and that's just kind of, unfortunately for the Angels, that's been their problem, is scoring runs overall this year. But for an Orioles lineup that has so much talent, and we've talked about Jordan Westburg and Colton Cowser, and Gunnar Henderson has a chance to now make it the third straight Baltimore Oriole to win Player of the Week. There's a chance.
That would be.
I think it's happening.
It's unless he goes through a slump this weekend, obviously, if it continues playing the way he is or just a little bit less, I agree. It has to be him. He's just on a different level right now.
Yeah, that means you have to get Jordan, Colton, and Gunnar all doing the back-to-back celebration in the dugout.
We're gonna have to get Gunnar on the show then, because if you win Player of the Week, you come on the show. It's the rules.
It is the rules, so we're gonna have to work on that. So we might have to just tell the Orioles, hey, we don't make them, but we've already had 2 of them.
Yeah,
and the team's having success. And then Cowser went deep that night after he was on the show.
Yeah, I don't think the Orioles would want to mess with Mojo at that point. So
it's good juju, good juju at this point.
I'm just saying. Also, the other thing with Gunner's game that people don't understand, as far as with his hit tool, his speed tool is so underrated. And Gunner right now, actually, as we speak of this, he is third in all of baseball with 8 home runs at this current moment. He's got 20 RBIs. He is tied for the league lead in triples with 3. CJ Abrams, Alex Kriloff, and Bobby Witt Jr. are also in that list. So Gunner, as big as he is, the dude can move, guys. Kevin, he kind of reminds me of what you're going to be like running as the relish in the hot dog costume.
I am waxing everybody in that competition, but it's not even going to be close. It's not even going to be close.
Yeah. It's oh, well, we're going to talk about that for a while.
By the way, you can get Jackson Holliday plus 20,000 MVP.
To be MVP, I might not take those odds.
Yeah, probably not going to. Kevin. But also what I want to point out, you're talking speed. Last year, Gunner had 10 stolen bases. This year, he already has 5. So he's getting more aggressive. And it's not just speed. And we've talked about this before. What makes Gunner so special is his ability to know who's out there playing, to read balls off the bat, whether it's him being a base runner, him extending a double into a triple, or him stealing first to second, second to third. He's actually, I believe, 2 or 3 times this year. If he's sitting on second base and your third baseman is falling asleep, he's staying in a shift, he's not paying attention, Gunner will take third base before you even throw the pitch. So his awareness is what really separates him. So yes, he's not the fastest guy of some of the guys he's competing with in these triples and steal categories, but it's his baseball mind and his awareness and his ability to say, screw it, I'm going to go take that base.
Yeah. And also back to his hit tool again, since we talked about his speed. Gunner's third in all baseball and slugging percentage at the moment. The only 2 guys ahead of them was Marcell Azuña. Sorry, couldn't get the pronunciation out there. And he's leading the MLB in RBIs with 29. And then the other one is the guy that's signed for $700 million. Let me get the glasses. $700 million. And that is Shohei Ohtani. So to give you the context of just what Gunner's doing at his age is so special. And for those that are wondering about down the road, you can't let Gunner walk or you're nervous. Guys, I really have a confidence that Gunnar Henderson is going to be a Baltimore Oriole for a while. And his superstar power right now, this wasn't he can be a superstar. He is a superstar. People need to realize that Gunnar Henderson is not just another player that has potential. The potential and the star power, everything is already there. There is nothing this kid cannot do. So keep that in mind. He's only going to get better. And I cannot wait to see it all unfold for him. And hopefully he keeps it going against the A's, which we'll dive into this here in a second. But before we do, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for the Ryan Ripken Show. We do this every Monday, Thursday, Sunday, or Stop Traffic. We do it on impromptu Tuesdays, which we did this past week. And we will probably have more and more of those moments when we can try to fit in the guest schedule, to what fits their schedule into our schedule, but we're the ones that want to be flexible, and we want to try to make sure you guys can get all the up-to-date content. What do you got, Zach?
So I actually have a video I want to play us. So Brian Kenny and Mad Dog were on MLB Network today, and there was a conversation about Gunnar Henderson, and I think we should watch it real quick.
Roll the tape.
Here we go. Let me share the video. Boom, here we go.
We're doing a thing on Ellie De La Cruz coming up. Think about it. Ellie De La Cruz, Bobby Witt, Gunnar Henderson. Like, there's a new wave of potential, just to keep your head on straight, best player in baseball candidates. I'll say candidates. These guys are emerging as kind of best player in the league. Like Mookie Betts is still there. Judge is still there. I get it. Ohtani is going to pitch again. But these three right now, and maybe C.J. Abrams, we're talking superstar shortstops that are already, and the first three emerging already as best players in baseball.
Yeah, De La Cruz strikes out an awful lot.
Yep.
And, last year he didn't do a lot in the second half of the year.
True.
I'm going to hold. I know he's got a lot of potential, but I'm going to hold out on him.
He's killing it right now, though, Doug.
Does he have this year?
Doug, you're right.
He does strike out a lot.
He's killing it so far this year. With a high batting average, he should have a place in your heart. He hits like 320. Like, he's not hitting 240 with power. He hits like 315, 320 with power. And he's playing shortstop, and he's the fastest guy in the league. Like, Doug, there's a lot there.
But last year he did not finish the season well at all. Last year he did not. I don't know what the numbers were.
Oh, he was terrible. Last 2 months, I got him. I'm going to show him. Yeah, no. Last 2 months, he fell off the cliff. He's back, right? But he fell off, right? Guys have to make adjustments. But like the most impressive, like I don't know, Bobby Witt and Gunnar Henderson, just briefly, are mind-blowing right now. I'm saying if I have a choice, who do I want this year? Ohtani or Gunnar Henderson? Might take Gunnar Henderson.
So would I. Fields, middle of the infield.
There you go.
I would too.
Gunnar
Gunnar Henderson's going to be great. He's a great player.
Got a great yeah.
That is a great player. He is going to be the best Oriole out of all the new guys that came up. He's going to be the best one. That's how good he is.
I wouldn't argue that.
He's going to be the best one.
We're in total agreement. We can.
So,
Wow. Right now, this year, they're saying Gunnar Henderson or Shohei Ohtani. We saw this is not Shohei slumping. This is Shohei playing like you paid Shohei to play. They're saying put it all together. They're taking Gunnar Henderson. That is how good Gunnar Henderson is playing right now.
well, and then this goes back to the conversation real quickly when everyone was trying to look at what Jackson Holliday is trying to accomplish. And again, highly touted #1 overall prospect. You know who also was a #1 overall prospect? Gunnar Henderson. Do you know who also didn't have the same expectations as Jackson? Was Gunnar Henderson. But I told you guys this, and I've had the 2-0 shit moments in my professional career being around some legendary players. I didn't have a chance to play or be around Jackson Holliday, so I can't speak on that specifically. First player, you guys know this, and the viewers, if you're going to hear this for the second time or whatever it is, I'm sorry. I started my career at the Washington Nationals. My teammate was Juan Soto. And I remember when he was 17 and came over, and the Nationals hitting coaches and coordinators were saying, this is the best hitter in the organization when Bryce Harper's already in the big leagues. And we're going, no bullshit. No way. Well, guess what? They turned out to be, and Bryce is still one of the best players in the game. Yeah. Soto helped lead the Nats to a 2019 title. Yes, the pitching was great, but Soto at that young age, and look what he's off to the start in New York right now. The other oh shit moment was Gunnar Henderson. It's the only 2 times in the history that I've been around in the 8 years in professional ball, the only time I had that feeling of any player I played against or being around. And for Gunnar, that's what I was trying to tell people. If there's one player that cannot leave Baltimore under any circumstance, I will tackle Gunnar. We will lock him in the studio, and I promise you, Birdland, Gunnar's going to be an Oriole for the long haul. There's no merit, but just of me just saying this. But when you have a guy like that, he's not going to walk out the door, and especially what he means to this organization now. The best is yet to come. We're talking about a storm's coming. The storm already rolled through with Gunnar Henderson. Now it's just hurricane season, where he is going to be doing this to American League opponents, American League East opponents, year after year after year.
We got to tell that was brilliant. It's hurricane season.
Oh,
I think that's gonna that we can make that a thing. That's all. That we'll copy that down.
Yeah, we're gonna write that down. Write that down. All right, let's jump into a little bit of what's happening now. Okay, so Orioles are off. They got back. late night, probably early morning, not probably was in the early morning. And now they're getting ready for the Oakland A's, which the Oakland A's, everyone going into the season was thinking, no expectations for the A's. Not as bad as people have thought so far, though, right, guys? Like, they're not the Chicago White Sox bad, where the White Sox, when it rains, it pours. They've won 3 games and they're 3-22. The Oakland A's are sitting at 9-16. Okay, so they just spent time in New York, played the New York Yankees. They actually play tonight to close out that series. They've lost it. They've dropped the last 2 games after winning the first one there. This is a series, guys. And maybe Kev, you want to start with this one, but again, this is another series that Baltimore should be favored to win, and rightfully so.
They should be. Oakland is a team that's kind of middling in power right now. They're 17th in home runs. They don't really drive in a lot of runs either. In terms of RBIs, they're 29th in the league. So to me, I think this is a series where I want to see really strong Baltimore pitching. Specifically, maybe this is a get-right series for the bullpen. To me, I think that the A's do have talent. I'm not saying that they don't. And as you mentioned, Ryan, they've started off better than people anticipated they were going to. But to me, I think, in all of sports, there are get-right moments and get-right series. I mean, we just finished talking about Gunnar. There was all this conversation very early, very, very early this season of, he's struggling here and he's struggling. He got it right. He's getting it together now. I think this bullpen, yeah, it hasn't been pretty in some moments for sure. I think we can all admit that. But I think that in this series, if you're able to limit Oakland's power, limit them driving in runs, this could be the moment we look back on. Maybe this series is the one where some of these guys who are struggling a little bit find some mojo with a couple of good outings, and they continue that throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I think also people need to realize the Orioles actually had a top 5 bullpen last year with a lot of the same guys. Yes, Batista was a massive part of that, right? Being the closer, but guess what? Craig Kimbrell's been great, but a lot of those arms are still there. And they've had the moments where they've been shut down, and they've had some moments where they let up runs. That's just a part of it. The Orioles keep winning. You guys want to take a guess whose bullpen's actually done a pretty good job so far this year?
Oakland.
That is correct. Oakland actually is sitting in the top half of their bullpen. They got a 3.15 ERA so far this year, and they sit now with the 8th best ERA for bullpens, right? So Baltimore right now is a little bit further down the list at a 4.12. To give you context, and the big guy in their bullpen, Zach, the name that there's a lot of players you probably aren't aware of on the Oakland A's as far as their position players, but one name that's had a lot of buzz is out of the bullpen, their closer, Mason Miller.
Gosh, talk about I actually saw Jared Carabas talked about this the other day. He said there's one guy that it doesn't matter who the A's are playing. Obviously, you're not going to watch a lot of A's games. When Mason Miller takes the mound, you turn on the A's because it is that electrifying. We watched him strike out the Yankees, pretty much made it look like he was playing a U12 team. And that is not, it's not like he was facing the bottom half order of the Yankees either. He went through Judge. He went through Soto. He hit the meat of the lineup, and he made them look horrible because it is hard to hit a ball when it's coming 103 with movement. And he makes guys look silly right now. So he's definitely someone I would like the Orioles to avoid, especially if they are down in a game. Because right now, when he comes in at only 25 years old also, so this is not a veteran. This is a young up-and-coming guy that they hope can be good for a very long time. He's someone I hope the Orioles don't have to deal with.
Yeah, right now, Mason Miller, to give you guys context of just what he's done so far, well, he's got a 1.8 ERA. You can say, hey, that's pretty good for whatever you want to consider it. This is where it gets a little scary. 10 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, and 20 strikeouts. So he's striking out for every inning that he pitches. He's striking out at least 2 batters. That is terrifying. And you're right. If you saw the Yankees when he closed it out against the likes of Soto and Judge, he was blowing heaters right by him. He goes, hey, you probably know what's coming, but guess what? You ain't touching this. And guess what? They weren't touching it. And that's just something to keep in mind in this situation.
He reminds me a lot of Felix Bautista in the fact of, you know what pitch is coming, but that does not mean that you're going to be able to hit it. And if you do, you're not going to be able to hit it well.
Yeah, I mean, that's why also, if you looked at Felix Bautista last year, he could throw 100 down the middle or in that vicinity, and the way your ball hops. So to give you guys context, if you don't know what that means, Fastballs, sometimes they can run and they can hop, meaning as they feel like they're getting to the plate, they feel like they almost just take off. Then you have the ones that are the sinker types, or maybe the two-seamers where the ball's going away, or the sinker, the ball's dropping off the table. And then they have their secondary pitches. And Mason Miller, imagine you're trying to ramp up for 101, 102, and then he's going to break off a slider right at the end that breaks X amount, right? Batista, what got him so much success was that Batista had that rising fastball that if you made contact with it, there was one moment really last year where someone actually touched Felix Batista on his heater, and it was Kyle Tucker for the grand slam against Houston. I believe it was his fastball, but that was down the middle. But my point being, when guys throw that hard, it's hard to get those guys. But then Felix splitter that plays off of it is disgusting. Mason Miller has a similar aura to him, Zach, that you are alluding to.
Yeah, actually,
we can have some success.
Real quickly, I'm going to share my screen. Courtesy of Pitching Ninja. Here is Mason Miller versus Juan Soto, 9th inning, 103. There's not much you can do about that. We'll get one more time. Bam. And that is probably one of the best, whether he's playing like it or not. Obviously, I think he is, but Juan Soto at all times is probably the hardest guy to strike out in the league.
Yeah. And we talked about that. We did the breakdown. It was one of my first Know Your Foe breakdowns was Juan Soto, and actually on balls inside the strike zone, when it says for the whiff percentage, meaning how many times he misses when he swings, you have the red zones, mean that it happens a lot. His was all blue. Okay. He doesn't miss on balls in the zone.
Not trying to go off on a Juan Soto thing, but did you see the other day where he struck out on 7 balls? Where he watched 7 balls, not a single one was in the strike zone, and he struck out. He did swing the bat once, but that's for a different conversation. I just wanted to bring that up. Well, Juan Soto knows the strike zone, and he doesn't strike out.
Oh, gosh. Well, then he definitely does. And the Orioles are going to see Juan Soto and the Yankees after this A's series. But, guys, they're actually, just to give you a little bit more context with this team, let's just go through guys who have been doing, something for them. And this hasn't been how do I put this? It's been a struggle for them to score runs. Zach Geloff, a guy that is actually from Delaware, Rehoboth Beach, I believe. And I think he's dealing with an injury. He got scratched, so we want to monitor there. Brent Rooker came back from him having some sore ribs, but Brent Rooker was their guy last year. That was their best hitter on the team, best power guy, all-star. But a lot of their guys right now are struggling to hit. That's just a reality of the situation here. And Kevin, you alluded to it. The Orioles, for them, if the Orioles continue to put together consistent at-bats over and over again and make the A's play catch-up, it's going to be really hard to catch this Baltimore lineup that seems 1 through 9 can just put the ball out of the ballpark or make something happen at the snap of a finger.
Right. I mean, the Orioles offense ranks in the top 2, top 3 of nearly every single category. I mean, we've talked about it at length. There are pretty much no holes in the lineup. So for an Oakland team, again, middling power team, not great at driving runs in. I agree with you, Ryan, where that's why I go back to the bullpen and say you get that bullpen a large lead. Now, we've seen some dicey moments this year in terms of the bullpen with those leads, but we've also seen them shut guys down, like you said. Maybe, hopefully, this is a series where you don't have to have Kimbrel pitch the 9th and go for saves because your offense has mashed the heck out of the ball and the other guys in the bullpen get their mojo going. So I wouldn't be shocked to see Baltimore's offense put up some good numbers in this series. Now, you don't want to get to the Mason Miller moments. I think that's, you mentioned it, you're trying to avoid that. But at the end of the day, if Baltimore's up 7-2, I feel pretty confident just because of the way Oakland's offense has performed so far this year.
Yeah. And look, when they won that game in New York, it was 2-0, right? The Yankees couldn't score runs. And then the Oakland A's squeeze a couple by and whammy.
It was a 9th inning 2-run home run. So it wasn't even like the A's, manufactured. It was a
home run. That's what I'm saying. They squeezed a couple runs out from a mistake pitch, Ryan Noda. And then there's Mason Miller. Get him hot. And when they're up, Mason Miller does his thing. So it's all context with it. What do you got?
JJ Bleday is has the highest average of all qualified Oakland Athletics, so qualified hitters, and it is 235. The team average is second worst in the MLB at 202. in front of only the Chicago White Sox, who, fun fact, since opening day, the Chicago White Sox have won less games, 3, than the UConn Huskies men basketball team, who have won 4.
Makes you feel really good. We're gonna have to get Gavin Sheets on to have a little pulse check.
I'll bring that up to him if it's still. Hopefully, by when he comes on, it's not still correct. But
yeah, for their sake, it's been a rough go. And this is when we're saying, when we've mentioned in the past about you just need to be in the hunt after the first month. You just don't want to be out of it. White Sox are already out of it. That's the thing that
they're
sucks.
done. They're out of here. But Wired, the whole tired. What tired? No one on the White Sox is playing well. Wired looks like Gavin Sheets would be their AL All-Star right now. So been seeing a lot of that stuff. So.
We want the Gavin Sheets All-Star. We're going to start pushing that agenda.
We're going to have to.
We're going to go 2 for 2. It's going to be Gavin Sheets All-Star, Nick Moore Pro Bowl. We're gonna go 2 for 2 on our agendas,
and we'll hang the banners too. Don't worry, we'll get banners and we'll hang them back.
We need their jerseys. We need jerseys.
Or both.
Yeah,
both.
Yeah,
we'll make their jerseys into banners.
Yeah,
there we go. But I also going back to, and even if you want to look at the pitching matchups, I know it's Stripling versus Burns on Friday for tomorrow. You would hope the Orioles would win that pitching matchup pretty early on. Stripling hasn't had a great year, 5.34 ERA. I mean, we know what Burns has done. You're not worried about him. Maybe we get another Cole Irvin revenge game for the A's. I think that's a fun storyline to look at. I mean, I know he was last year. It's the second year with Baltimore, but it's Sears versus Irvin. I think that one is more evenly matched. I don't think there's a starter for Sunday yet. Is there? Am I seeing?
So not for the Orioles, but for the A's, it's Paul Blackburn. And actually, Blackburn's been their guy that's pitched very well. But to give you guys context, we talked about Corbin Burns, power pitcher, can get guys out, can strike guys out. Grayson Rodriguez, similar style. That's not Blackburn's style. Blackburn's style is not going to blow it by you. He's a guy that's going to go out there, going to try to induce soft contact. That's the goal. He's only got 23 Ks in 31 innings and walked 8. So he's going to be around the plate. And so far, he's only allowed 7 earned runs and 22 hits. So he's doing a really good job of that. And he's spotting a 2.03 ERA in his 5 starts so far. So, Kevin, you're right. The Orioles will see who that person's going to be that's starting Sunday.
There's a lot of speculation about if it's going to be John Means. I know that Brandon Hyde didn't necessarily say it wouldn't. They said they're still deciding on whether or not he would join the rotation, this kind of rotation or the next. So I'm not sure. Obviously, we don't have anything about that, but that could be interesting to keep an eye out in the next day or two to see if that gets announced.
Yep. And that's probably why with guys like Means and Bradish that seem close, you want to see what the Orioles are going to do. Time will tell. But what we do know is, again, when we're looking across the board, this is a series that the Orioles should win. And again, everyone's saying it'd be great they should sweep. Well, yeah, they have the ability to sweep, but keep this in mind. You keep winning series. You win 2 out of 3 constantly. If you won 2 out of 3 of every single game this year, that's a 66% win percentage for the Baltimore Orioles. That is that is beyond impressive, right? But for the Orioles in the cases, just win the series. You're at home. You feel things are going well. You have a lineup that you feel like you can plug guys in with righties and lefties, no problem. It's a good problem that the Orioles have here, and I can't wait to kind of see how that's going to kind of flow into as we move further into the season.
If you win 2 of 3 every time, you win 107,
and
that'd be pretty cool. Cool.
That would be pretty cool. And you guys new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show here. We do this Monday, Thursday, Sunday. If you're listening, we do this on audio. We will put this one out on audio, our Tuesday show, because it was just more off script with Jerry Harrison Jr. But go back and listen to Jerry Harrison Jr.'s
and Zach Lowther
conversations. Zach Lowther. Shout out former Orioles Zach Lowther, friend of the program, also former teammate of myself. Known Zach for a very long time. He's a very good friend of mine. Gave some really good context of talking about pitchers coming back from injuries. So keep that in mind. And also what we try to do, Kevin, just like with our channel subscriptions, we put out with our Holy Shirts and Pants members what our possible guests are going to be like in the future, what time we're going live with certain streams as it goes, so you guys don't miss the action when we are going to be doing this live. Because again, it's all about the community.
It is. And if you want to become a channel member, we've been pushing that for the last couple of weeks. We actually have a really great community already. And it's not just we have a great community with everybody, but the channel members, it's been growing really, really fast. So we're going to do a lot more as the next couple of weeks even come. It's been very hectic with the draft stream and Orioles season, but we're pushing out new things. We're going to have channel member streams where you will be able to interact with us in the stream. So that'll be really fun. We're going to push those out soon. If you want to become a channel member, and there are a bunch of other perks, you can hit the join button next to subscribe. You can also join our free Discord to continue the conversation with us and obviously all the watchers and listeners of the show. A lot of fun times already in the Discord. I think there are watch parties in there. So we value community a ton here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Ryan, I know you do. Everybody on the team does. And it's been really cool to watch it grow and continue to grow. It's not stopping anytime soon, but we're trying to get a lot of new things for the community, including I have started to see a lot of people really pining for this in-person hot dog race, as you talked about earlier.
Sugar.
So I think we might have to do it soon because I'm itching for a victory. I need to make Relish proud here.
Well, and that's going to be hard to do. Zach says he'll start training if we have the official date.
Yeah, once we get the official date, like, unfortunately, my competitiveness, I still will probably lose, but I will start actually training just so I don't get embarrassed.
Yes, I agree. But you know what? In the meantime, also had some conversations because Colton Cowser was talking about, the hot dogs. And we had it with Colton and Westy talking about hot dogs. And actually, guys, while we're on the subject, before we get used to talking about, or we're going to do the Albert Suarez breakdown is what we're actually going to do. But I want to say we were trying to figure out a nickname. Yeah, I know Kevin's reunite. But do you want to?
Yeah, well, yes, Kevin's reunited, but also I see King of Gogas saying that he loves Relish. And look at this, Justin gifting 5 memberships. Appreciate you, Justin. Wow, that's awesome.
You're the man, Justin. Thank you. Oh, I'm gonna clap
again. You know what I realized too? That he's got a Holy Cowser image. That's his.
Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice that. Yeah.
All you can
Justin, you're the man.
You can see the Holy Cow and then Zer. But speaking of Cowser, we were talking with him, trying to brainstorm on the Ryan Ripken Show, right? About Jordan Westberg needs a nickname here. All right. So I think Birdland, if you don't mind, we got to figure out what that's going to be. So let me actually play that. Let me share my screen so we can play our little conversation we had with Colton and Jordan the other week. I guess it was on, not the other week. It was on Monday. I'm losing track of days. Holy shirts and pants. Let's take a listen.
Last spring was like rhyming Westy with everything. Or like, pesty Westy, things like that. So you can have fun with that. But also one that I gave him was Burger. That's a burger. But then that kind of transformed into Berg, and then it was Iceberg. Iceberg.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. Oh, goodness gracious.
There it is. Yeah. Other people are thinking along the lines here. I call them Iceberg or Burger. I think they're good.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to think, is it'd be great because you kind of have the cow theme. Rocker, you're saying what, Cowboys and cow something?
They could do a play off that, but if they really wanted to.
Cowboys in the Wild West.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cowboys.
Yeah. You guys are both in Texas. Figure something out with that.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys and cow thing would go great if like Gunnar and I can stay strong on this mustache thing.
And actually, what we didn't show there is Cowser has his opinion on who has the best mustache on the team.
Yeah.
And it's himself.
Yeah, but there's no chance, especially we talk about superstitions. There's no way with how he is hitting right now. If he shaved his beard, I would get upset. I would get physically upset.
Well, I told him I was pissed. I mean, you don't mess with that.
No.
All the hits are in the beard. Actually, in spring training, story time real quickly, 2019, I had a beard growing, and I was going to shave it because it was Florida spring training. It's still a little bit warmer. And Brett Cumberland was telling me in the cafeteria, he's like, what's going on? Like, I hear you're trying to shave your beard. I'm like, it's just a point. He goes, no, brother, that's where the hits are. He goes, if you don't get a hit in spring training game today, you can shave it. Like, okay. So then I go deep, and then I had a double, and then I go, well, I guess I got to keep it. Then I start the season off with more extra base hits than I have singles. Then I hurt my oblique. And but yeah, the beard, the powers of the beard, man, they're real, and you're seeing it with Colton Cowser. There's a reason why he grew it out. It's not because he wanted to have that look. It's because they have the hits in it, guys. So I'm glad we could talk about that. Should we do a little Albert Suarez breakdown? Are we feeling that? Are we feeling froggy about that?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. And while we're doing that, then we'll get set up. We can have a little bit of Kevin's Corner.
All right. I think Well, we can talk a little bit of football, but just general football right now, where I'm very curious to everybody in the chat, who is your NFL team? I've always kind of wondered with our community here, where is everybody, first of all, located? But two, are you a Ravens fan? Oh, wow. This is like Locked On Ravens. I have the full screen to myself.
It's terrifying. I know.
This is now the Kevin Allstriker show. Sorry, Ryan. But I think this is going to be a really interesting draft, just not only Ravens wise, but once Caleb Williams goes off the board, I mean, yeah, all right. I see a bunch of Ravens. I'm very glad we got a bunch of Ravens people in the chat here. That's how it should be. But if you are not a Ravens fan, we welcome everybody. I see we got Chargers, Commanders, Cowboys, Joe saying Montreal Stallions. I think though it's really fun because after Caleb Williams goes, the consensus is going to be Jaden Daniels, right? It feels like that's going to be 2. The Patriots apparently really love Drake May, but the Giants are trying to trade up to get Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison apparently hasn't signed a likeness thing, so his jersey isn't going to be available. There's all this drama, but we have to talk about Rashad Bateman a little bit too. I mean, Bateman gets the extension through 2026. We'll talk about this a little more on the live stream for the draft, so be sure to tune into that at 7:30. But I think there was a lot of these rumblings about like, oh, is Bateman going to get traded? Are they going to bring in Brandon Ayuk? Well, the Ravens love, first of all, making moves when I am not available. They don't necessarily love my timeline, and they always make moves when I'm not available. But for me, look, if the money's right, then it's a fine move. But the risk here, and there is a risk, is can he consistently produce as the wide receiver? Because we haven't seen a full season from him. The potential is there. I actually am a big Rashad Bateman guy. But for me, it's where is the consistency and is it going to happen this season? Are you confident enough in a Raven? I mean, let's go over the receiver room right now, right? It's Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Deontay Hardy, Nelson Aguilar, and Tylan Wallace. Those are the guys. And I actually saw a comment, where is it here, from Mitchell, who says, what's your opinion on Caleb? Kevin, do you think he's going to be a stud? I do. I know there are some questions, and if you listen to the show, if you know one of our other guys on here, Brad, is not the biggest fan of Caleb Williams. I think he's going to be fine, though. I mean, I think it's the obvious pick at 1. They trade away Justin Fields. So that's going to be the one where it's going to be some people love him, some people don't. But I personally think it's a fine pick for Chicago. Chicago actually also has number 9. Apparently, they're trying to trade out. Apparently, the Chargers are trying to trade out. Minnesota trying to move up. So there's a lot going on for this draft, and we're going to have it all covered here on the Ryan Ripken Show starting at 7:30. We're going to have a ton of guests, multiple people coming down, multiple current, former players coming down to the studio. So it's going to be a fun time. And I see Amanda saying, will Bateman stay healthy? That's the question. And that's right. I agree, Amanda, because it's almost like he gets in the league, he gets injured in his first training camp. He misses the first, 5 or 6 weeks. Gets injured again his second season towards the end of the year, misses some time last season. So can he put together a full healthy year? I think that's part of the reason why we haven't seen the chemistry between Rashad Bateman and Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's really what the question is yes, can he stay healthy? King Agoga saying Marvin of the Chargers. I think it has to be Cardinals. I mean, I would be shocked if the Cardinals passed or moved out of 4 to take Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's that good of a player. So I think for me, if the Cardinals don't take him, that's honestly kind of malpractice in my opinion. Kevin saying thinks the Ravens go for AD Mitchell. It's possible. Now, my hot take, and I'm gonna be pounding the table on this throughout the whole draft stream. I don't think wide receivers out of the question at 30. I get that for Baltimore, Bateman is extended. They have Zay Flowers, but that doesn't mean wide receiver isn't a need for them. If there's a guy like Xavier Legette, AD Mitchell, people love or hate Keon Coleman, there are other areas where, yeah, offensive line is clearly the biggest need on the team. I'm not arguing that. But you can still say, okay, after this season, only Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman are under contract. Deontay Hardy, 1-year deal. Nelson Aguilar, 1-year deal. Tylan Wallace, I believe, is a free agent. This is still a need, both short and long term. They're going to probably draft one receiver. Wouldn't be shocked if they go early, maybe first, second round. But for me, we're going to see how that all unfolds. I see Z Barnyard saying, think EDC trades out of the first round. I think it's definitely possible. I mean, once you get to 30, everything gets so – it's like everybody's scooped up into like one or two pools where you say, oh, this guy would be okay at 30. That guy would be okay at 30. Maybe there's a guy that falls. If there's a guy that falls, you have to take him. And honestly, if we start to see a Kyle Hamilton type fall, I don't know about anybody else, but if you're a Ravens fan, oh, are you good, Ryan?
Oh, you're good. Finish your thought.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I was saying, if in that Kyle Hamilton draft, when he got to 10, I was like, oh man, like they trade up, go, get him. I didn't think he was going to end up falling to 14. Luckily that happened. This year, if there's an offensive lineman like Amarius Mims potentially that falls, maybe Troy Falatanu apparently got flagged for a knee. If he starts to fall, I think for me, you could trade up. But in terms of trading back, we saw the Ravens do this with Lamar Jackson back in 2018. They moved up to 32, traded a couple second rounders, got that fifth-year option. If there's a Michael Penix Jr. who's available, a Bo Nix who's available, maybe they drop that far. A team wants to trade up. Eric DeCosta loves his draft picks. We know he loves moving up down the draft board. If he's only moving down a few spots, there are probably going to be 6 to 8 guys, maybe 5 to 7 he loves on his board at 30. If you can trade back 4 or 5 spots, you're still guaranteed a couple of those guys still on your board. So it's about the board. The Ravens are a BPA team. I talk about offensive line. I talk about wide receiver. But, man, it feels like they're going to go defense. Like, my prediction is a wide receiver. But for me, I don't know. It feels like it could be a corner. Nate Wiggins has gotten a lot of late buzz. Cooper DeJean's another one. So you can still get a guy like that in the second round. But I think there is a possibility EDC trades out. I'm not sure if Ryan are you good? No. Okay, I'm going to keep going. What else do we got here? I see Adit saying if Cooper's available on the board at 30, is he your pick? It'd be tough to pass on him, and especially because we know first of all, Cooper's super versatile. Like him and Kyle Hamilton in the same defense, the versatility those two just together offer would be incredible. The Ravens love going defense. Like that's exactly their MO in some of these drafts is defense early. They invest early draft capital. They pay defensive players. They love that. So I think that Cooper, if he is on the board at 30, I would not be shocked if that was the pick whatsoever. I see Joe saying draft a kicker at 30. You know, Joe, I think what would make people even more frustrated, they take a fullback in the 5th round. Remember that? Remember when that happened? Not a lot of people like that. So let's see. I see a bunch of people saying Jordan Davis. Yeah, I thought the Eagles, when they traded up, they were going to take Hamilton. Luckily, it was Jordan Davis for them. I see the Ryan. Ryan, are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. Shut up, Kevin.
Oh, wow. All right. I will depart. Have fun.
I'm just kidding. You're a good kid, Kevin. And guys, this is honestly, I like to mess with Kevin just because it's just fun. It's Kevin. But you hear how in tune and excited Kevin is and the knowledge of this. And by the way, I'm giving him the shout out. So Kevin, sorry for the shut up there. But the point is, we have a lot of things planned for tonight, courtesy of Kevin setting up this beautiful lineup of people that we have coming on. So if you want to hear more and more of this type of talk, Kevin can talk for hours, and he does. That's his living. Imagine we do it for a full live stream with the guests that we have. All right, now as we get into the rest of this program, hit that like and subscribe button. If you love Kevin or you love that we're about to talk about Mr. Albert Suarez of the Baltimore Orioles, this is the breakdown people have been asking me to do over his first 2 starts. It's no secret. If you said that Albert Suarez was actually going to be this pitcher that could be involved with the Orioles this year, hey, we know you're lying. Just don't lie to me. You can lie to Zach, lie to Kevin, but don't lie to me because you didn't expect a 34-year-old that hasn't pitched in the big league since 2017 to come up and be as impressive as he has. And so far, I got to figure out how to do that. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. It's me. So this is the thing with Albert Suarez in general. He has given the Orioles a chance to win both of his games. Going into the 6th inning, he's given up 0 earned runs. I'll explain here in a minute. Let's walk you through a little bit about Albert Suarez. All right. Come on, baby. Here we go. So you can see the last time he was really charted in baseball was back in 2017. And the crazy thing here, if I can move on over, and this is all being seen so far. All right. Back in 2017, he had 5 pitches, 4-seam, curveball, slider, sinker, changeup. And you look at that in 2017, heater 93.5, curveball 79.9. You know, you can see the rest of the numbers. The sinker is essentially the same as his fastball. But in 2014, he's shortened things up so far. It's 4 pitches, but in my mind, it's really 3 because he really doesn't throw his curveball. It's mainly his 4-seam and his cutter are the 2 pitches, and he will mix in the changeup to kind of be that off-speed pitch that he trusts the most. But the biggest jump is 93.5 to a 95 average fastball at the moment. And this cutter, I'll tell you what, I think that's transformed his game, and that's a big reason why he's having success so far here for the Baltimore Orioles. As we keep going, I'll show you his stat lines and box scores already for his first 2 games. So the 2 games he's faced the Twins and the Angels, and people can go, well, Ryan, the lineups aren't very good. Well, guess what? Have you seen how the Angels still played against Grayson Rodriguez? They hit him pretty hard, didn't they? You can't say that. These are big league hitters. And so far with Suarez, he's been sensational. 5 2/3 innings, both outings, 3 hits and 4 hits respectively. Yeah, not a lot of Ks. That's okay, but I love this. No walks and then 2 walks, and he's doing this and giving the Orioles a chance to win. The Orioles have won both games that Albert Suarez has started this year. Now let's get into that arsenal of his pitches so you guys can get a little bit more context of why I say his fastball and cutter have been the big reasons why he has had success so far in the bigs. Rolling. All right, so we're going to see here, I want you to understand the concept of it. This is going to be Byron Buxton in his at bat here in the 4th inning, and this is Suarez's cutter, and I will set this up for you. But you're going to see this ball move across the strike zone, and since it keeps going, Buxton hasn't seen him before. You're trying to get a scouting report. He's going to swing and realize, man, this ball moves way more than I thought. Ball's well out of the zone, right? Let's roll that back because I think it's good to know. So again, the ball is looking like it's going to be on the outside third of the plate. It keeps running. All right, so we're going to see it again. Right there, that's in a hitting mode right now. And Buxton's going to take a chance. He takes a chance, and that ball just keeps running out of the strike zone, almost into the other batter's box, right? On that chalk of the left-handed batter's box. Here's the next thing, though, with his 4-seam fastball. So you saw how much that ball moved on the cutter, okay? Now that's in Buxton's mind of going, well, okay, he's going to throw that cutter to me. I have to anticipate that ball moving away from me. Well, Suarez goes, well, guess what? I just got a straight heater for you. Try to hit this, and it confuses Byron. And it's going to be the middle in, and Buxton freezes because he's envisioning, here we go, sorry. He's envisioning that the ball is going to move away from him, and instead, it's going right in. And he's like, damn, all right. So now, here's more examples of that cutter. So you saw the 4-seam. It makes you think a little bit. Now you're to see Suarez's cutter, and this is a big reason why he's had success is because he's locating this well. I mean, look, right on the black there, perfectly executed pitch, 0-1 count, weak contact, pop-up, beautiful, right? It's great. Adley gets under it, whammy, you're feeling good. Same thing here. That's a cutter. It's high. It kind of backs up on the lefty. But again, when you're trying to deal with a guy that has a cut fastball, you don't know how much it's going to cut, and you're trying to figure that out as you go. And if you can throw a cutter well, that's why you see guys like Corbin Burns and some of these other pitchers who've perfected it, the effect that it can have. Joe Adell, who had a good series against the Orioles. Now the fact of when you have the cutter and you're thinking, well, okay, it's a little bit slower. I'm going to have a little bit more time. Instead, Suarez right here is going to throw his regular heater, and Joe Adell is probably timed up more to that 4-seam fastball that he's going to get out in front of this pitch and roll it over as a result, and that's what he does. Rolls it over. Westy makes the play. Joe Adell hustling him down the line there. But you're going to see that, the 4-seam fastball, and this was probably the crazy thing, too, that he has, is that, again, Suarez, what's been the most impressive is because he's throwing 95 to 97, hitters can't always have that anticipation that they're hoping. That's why the cutter has been the biggest surprise, at least so far, for Suarez. Fastball here is at 97 with run, and that arm side run, for those that need to understand or a little bit more context, you can see Suarez is just trying to throw his 4-seam fastball, but sometimes when you release it from a different angle, right, that release point can allow the ball to naturally run. So like Suarez isn't intentionally trying to make it into a 2-seamer, but it runs like a 2-seam fastball where it runs away from the hitter, and it's a perfectly located pitch. It's either going to be strike 3 if he's not swinging at it, regardless. Beautiful pitch by Suarez. So you're seeing a lot of that. Now, this is something, though, that the pitch that we haven't talked about yet was his curveball. He doesn't really throw that well. It's not a pitch that's going to be his out pitch. And quite frankly, so far, he's thrown it the least amount because he's had the least feel with it, too. Moniak's going to smoke. Oh, sorry. I was a little bit ahead of it right there. I thought I had for the other lefty. I think it was Moniak. One more example there of the heater. My bad. Straight heater, perfect location. Location's key. You saw that when Grayson got hit the other night. His location with his hard fastball was not where it needed to be. He left pitches over the heart of the plate. Angels made him pay. Now this is what I was going to talk about with the curveball. So the curveball for Suarez is a pitch that hasn't had a lot of depth to it, hasn't had a lot of movement. And the depth meaning that it's fooling the hitters, right? And Suarez, there's a reason why he hasn't thrown it as much because it hasn't been as effective and it's not as, consistent for him. So this probably should have been called a strike, right? But that's a hanging curveball. Like that didn't move too much. And if Sano is thinking that he could throw that, well, that's a tee-off pitch for a lot of hitters that are looking for a breaking ball up. They want that breaking ball up. And the next example is there's a breaking ball up here on the next hitter. And this is back to Moniak, which I was referring to. I got confused on that. I apologize. But Moniak's going to get a hanging curveball that just loops in there and floats in. And luckily, Urias makes a nice play. But that ball is in a very hittable part for a left-handed bat. That's going right into the sweet spot. Moniak smokes it, but right at Urias. So again, I'm going to show that to you guys one more time just to understand. Right there, sweet spot. Moniak, good swing, but right to Urias, right? But the pitch that actually is his out pitch for an off speed is that changeup. We talked about the four seam, talked about the cutter. Your four seam fastball sets up the changeup. And really, a changeup splitter can be the most devastating pitch to hitters if you can throw it right. There's a sequence for Trout, 3-2 count, and Suarez is going to drop a changeup off on him. And Trout's going to actually be early and foul this ball away. Middle, okay? All right. He feels like he maybe had a good pass. But this is why I know Suarez has confidence in it. Trout just actually made contact, pulled the ball. So you're thinking maybe, all right, he's got the timing down. But Suarez goes, I can throw a better one here. And I'm going to fool Mike Trout, which is hard to do. And Albert Suarez throws a changeup perfectly located on the inner part of the plate, and Trout's going, damn, can't believe I missed that one. But that is what Albert Suarez has done so well. And so for those to understand, I don't know what Albert Suarez's long-term plan is going to be, right? Albert Suarez could be a guy that, hey, maybe the magic runs out down the road, but looking at his stuff, it doesn't look that way. And at least for right now with all these Orioles injuries, Albert Suarez is going to get a chance to continue to start and to continue to impact this team. Why? His stuff looks good. He's executing his pitches, and he's giving the Orioles a chance to win each time he's going on the mound. Still so far, no earned runs. And on top of it, aren't you rooting for a guy like Albert Suarez that has just grinded his way to get back to hopefully have a big league chance? And shout out to the Orioles scouting department of realizing that there was a guy that has been overlooked for a while, hasn't pitched at the highest level in the big leagues in 7 years, but he has the stuff to help a team, and not just help any team, help one of the best teams in baseball. So I hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown of Albert Suarez. Hit that like and subscribe button. Also, I'd appreciate that. And let me know, as always, who you would want me to break down next. And hopefully it's another Oriole that's having a lot of success. And now back to Kevin's Corner.
I was muted. I said, I am inevitable. So now Kevin's Corner Part 2. We talked about this, and let's do baseball now. Just talking about Suarez and everything. We talked earlier, and probably about 2-3 weeks before the season started, we talked about how important the pitching depth was for the Orioles. Just in, John Means isn't going to be ready for opening day. Kyle Bradish, the uncertainty of the timeline there. But we were talking about, okay, maybe like a Cade Povich or Chase McDermott, one of those guys could come up. We obviously talked about Tyler Wells and Cole Irvin as the guys who could slot in. We said, oh, yeah, they're 7 deep. They're 7 deep with their guys. Plus, it's the top 5 plus Tyler Wells and Cole Irvin. But then you have guys like Suarez just coming out of nowhere and making these starts, throwing these pitches. And so that's when I think a lot of people talk about, and we've talked about this a ton here on the show, but when you're talking about trading, making a move for a pitcher, I think a lot of people want a bullpen pitcher. I mean, I get the bullpen has been shaky at times and really good other times, but I think people just want to see more consistency there. If you move off, and this is just a general conversation, because the Orioles, you talk about the starting pitching depth they have, they're deep almost everywhere on their roster. So if you were to move off of some of these bigger prospects, I'm not saying that everybody that's on or that's in the organization right now is going to stay in the organization forever. The Orioles are going to make moves. We saw it with Corbin Burns. That was a move. Again, that's a championship level move, right? But I think we're still so early in the season. We're less than a month in at this point, or right around a month in, to where you look ahead a couple of months and you start to see, is this sustainable from Albert Suarez? I mean, look, these two starts have given me a lot of encouragement. They've given a lot of people a lot of encouragement. Ryan breaking it down there. It can be sustainable, but if it doesn't work out, if something happens, if Suarez gets injured, if another injury happens, and obviously knock on wood, I'm knocking if you heard that, it doesn't happen. But if there is another injury, the Orioles are so deep at that position where they can just call up another guy. And obviously we're still waiting about, is it going to be Means on Sunday? I think Zach talked about that. We're waiting on when Kyle Bradish is coming back. But the starting pitching has been able to hold it down while those guys get healthy and get ready to get back in the rotation. And that's in all of sports. It's so important to have that depth because you don't want to have an injury or two derail your season or even derail your early season because you don't have the depth behind. You don't want to go all in on the stars and have nothing behind them. The Orioles have the stars, they have the depth, and that's what makes them a really good team.
Yeah, you're darn right. I mean, this is the thing, by the way, too. It's a long season. The Orioles bullpen in general, it's a lot of the same arms that we mentioned earlier that, by the way, they were top 5 bullpen last year. And if you're winning games right now, it's the players are still trying to figure out their roles and how things are going. And that's why a guy like Craig Kimbrell, having a guy that's been there on the back end, look, there's a reason for that. And so right now, the Orioles aren't in any rush to make any moves. They're not. Your team's winning. You're playing well. Figure out with what you have and what you can work with. That's exactly how Albert Suarez situation came about. They trusted their offseason preparation. They went out and signed him. And then the injuries happened. Suarez gets a chance. And look what's happened so far. No one would ever know what the Orioles have internally until they give them a chance. Albert Suarez has been fantastic. So keep that in mind here. And we'll give an updates. I'm seeing Kevin talk about, not you, Kevin, the other Kevin in the chat, talking about CNL Perez. And Perez, hopefully he'll get back soon. Obliques are a pain in the butt. They're a pain in the ass, man. But hopefully he will be back at some point here soon. And what do you got, Zach? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, there we go. Perez, I believe, if he has not pitched already, he is in Norfolk right now to begin his rehab assignment. Let me just make sure, but I believe that was the last update we had on him. So, yep, rehab assignment in AAA.
Yep. So there we go. And that's the update there. And again, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to probably going to wrap up this stream, by the way. Mm-hmm. And also, we're talking about streams and doing all this. And people have asked to do more of our bets and predictions for guys. So we will put out posts. And especially now with our partner with Hollywood Casino out in Charlestown Races in West Virginia, we got some things planned for them going out there to, I don't know, maybe have a little fun, maybe put a couple of wagers down, maybe do a live show out there.
So, hey, stay tuned. Stay tuned. You never know.
And they have some other events coming up there, concerts, comedy performances, and also, too, just a fun place. Actually, guys, if you actually get your car or actually treat me right, I'm talking about Kevin and Zach, we know Rocco won't and Brad. They also have 2 restaurants there that are absolutely fire. So if you guys treat me right, I'll treat you guys right to a nice steak dinner. What do you got, Zach?
I just want to bring up this comment from Kevin. Cade Povich is pitching at an unreal level right now. Let me just pull up his stats right now. He actually pitched, I believe, earlier today as well. So he is up to this year. He has 5 games started. He has a .03 ERA, 26 innings pitched. But where is it? In 26 innings, he has 40 strikeouts.
Oh, sugar.
Yeah.
Wow.
And only 10 balls. Only 10 balls, only 10 walks. So
that would be impressive.
That would be incredible. But yes, so opponent's average is 116 they're hitting against him. That's pretty good with a .76 whip or walks or hits per innings pitched. You don't know whip.
Came through whipping. Whip.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because we talk about the depth of this Orioles team. And I feel like everyone keeps talking about the depth of the fielders because that's like the hot topic. That's what people love to talk about. Before it was Kerstead, then it was before that was Holiday. Now it's okay, does Stowers get a chance? Okay, where are we doing with a Connor Norby? And slowly, like I think people are starting to realize the Orioles got some dudes on the pitching staff down there. Cade Povich, Chase McDermott, Seth Johnson probably coming back from more rehab is not going to, I don't think he'd get a shot this year, maybe a bullpen opportunity later in the year. But the Orioles have some pitchers down there that are going to turn some heads. I think Cade Povich is a guy that could find his way if he keeps pitching like this. It's going to be hard not to give him a chance, whether it's in the rotation or as a long man out of the bullpen. I think we see him in Baltimore definitely this season.
That's a play. He's definitely built it up, right? He's earning the right of being close. And it's again, the biggest thing for Povich was consistency. That's what everyone wants when you get to a level for pitching wise. When you get to the big for hitters, yes, consistency matters, but there's going to be a little grace period because of MLB pitchers. They're way more consistent, have an idea of what they want to do. For Povich, it was being a little bit erratic. In the big leagues, they're like, hey, we can live with you giving up some runs here and there, but we can't have you be erratic. Since he's really kind of honed that in, stuff's not a question for Povich. Guy's got it. Guy's been pitching at a high level. It's not a matter of if, but when he comes to Baltimore. And his time will come soon. But right now, things are going well for him in AAA. Things are going well in Baltimore for the Birds. A lot of good problems to have to figure out as the season goes on. Any last things, guys, before we get on out of here? By the way, again, if you're new to the show, hit that like and subscribe button. On my X page, Rick Dempsey and I are doing an event at the Iron Rooster on Sunday. If you want to enter for 10 tickets, we're doing a giveaway. Like that post. Follow Rick, the Baseball Warehouse, Iron Rooster, and myself, and we'll pick the winner on Friday night and hopefully see you there on Sunday from 5:30 to 7:30 up in Hunt Valley, Maryland. And again, food, Rick and Rip after dark in this economy could be a lot of fun. And obviously, the food's there great. We can't stop raving about it. What you got? What are you smirking about, Zach?
Don C just cracked me up with the, I guess when I was talking about Povich, he said nasty like Brenda at the Golden Corral.
Oh my God.
Oh, Brenda. Oh, Brenda.
The Golden Corral, baby. Don C, that was incredible.
That was amazing.
Thank you for that.
And I'll tell you what, the Orioles have been playing really well since Brenda came into our lives.
I need to get the stats on that. I'll do some next episode.
Someone commented it, Zach. I don't know if you saw, but it was like Brenda is the new Johnny. Brenda is the Orioles version of Johnny.
Maybe.
Baby. All right, guys, let's get out of here. We'll save some Kevin Oakey for tonight because we got a lot of time.
You're gonna embarrass me in front of everybody in the studio.
Yes. Absolutely.
Well, I also love how we say a quick 30 to 45 minutes, guys. Nothing too slight, and we go like an hour 15 every single time.
Every time.
Every
time.
Yeah. Well, also when you shoved me off and I was like, oh hey, we're about to get going. I was like, oh, keep going. Great.
Well, it was a black screen, and I gave you like 5 seconds. I'm like, Ryan, you good to go? And what?
I don't know about that, Jim. I don't know, Jim.
Roll the film, roll the tape, roll the tape.
I don't know about that, Jim.
I don't know. That's gonna be close, Jim. All right.
Oh, I missed football season.
Yeah, we missed football. Well, hey, join us again. We will be back live. Gosh, in 2 hours. So we gotta get a little pep in our step. So let's cue the music. We're done for this. We will get the videos out here. We'll see you back in 2 hours for our NFL draft live stream with all of our guests. Come join us. Let's cue it.
Appreciate you, Joe.
As always, we appreciate you here at the Ryan Ripken Show. We do this every Monday, Thursday, Sunday, wherever we feel like it seems like. But hey, we'll be back soon. As always, have a day, have a night, have a great weekend if we don't talk to you. But we'll see you next time for another edition of the Ryan Ripken Show.
See you in 2 hours.
Rolling.